In the 1950s, post-war South Korea was bitterly poor, with little industry, heavily dependent on U.S. aid. The economy was sinking under a corrupt regime. When student demonstrations toppled the government, chaos intensified. Into the breach stepped General Pak Chung-hee, who seized power in a military coup in 1961. He was convinced South Korea had to develop economically to survive.
He sort of, for the first time, creates an economic nationalism, a more positive program that people can unite behind. Now, he does this in a repressive manner. At the same time, he's saying there are two major things we have to do in Korea. We have to protect our security from an invasion from the north, and we have to develop. And in order to do those two things, it's going to require that we be disciplined. And that's the nice word for we're going to have to abridge human rights.
Pak banned all political activities. He muzzled the press. He used a new anti-communist law to arrest and imprison thousands of intellectuals and political opponents. But Pak had to appease the Americans whose aid Korea needed. For the benefit of U.S. politicians, the general took off his uniform, created a new political party, and won a series of presidential elections. But behind the scenes, despite the appearance of democracy, Pak continued to wield an autocratic power, backed by the military and enforced by the sinister instrument of the Korean CIA. Despite the repression, many Koreans supported Pak's economic policies.
A certain degree of authoritarianism can be a very useful tool to mobilize, even awakening the people. And Korea was a poor, war-devastated, divided, quarrelsome, disorganized. Yet we had a very bright people, skilled people, and highly motivated people. And Pak Chung-hee was instrumental in put this energy into the very constructive economic scheme, which was successful.
Pak's vision was to strengthen the nation by building the economy. And to motivate the people to the task, Pak used slogans of nationalism that echoed past traditions.
When you go to mobilize national strength, you call on loyalty in a Confucian manner. You use the word, and you use it in the way in which Confucians would think of this loyalty upward to the state and the reciprocity downward and the benevolence downward from the king. So Pak comes in and he's harsh, he's authoritarian, but he wants to establish this sense of propriety. And in that sense, he's the Confucian as well. And what he does differently is that he comes in and says, we're not going to tolerate corruption, we're not going to tolerate misinformation in the economic sphere of activity in this government.
Pak's economic planners gave directives to the captains of industry as if they were orders given to troops. Pak launched a series of 5-year plans based on Korea's advantage in the world marketplace. Low-paid workers willing to work longer and harder than anyone in the world. In crowded sweatshops, women and children as young as 11 toiled 14-hour days, 6 days a week, for as little as $80 a month. In the 60s and early 70s, growth depended on labor-intensive industries like electronics and textiles. Americans advised Pak to stick with light industries. But Pak aimed higher at steel and automobiles. And Pak used the power of government to guide and assist business in ways that would have shocked American boosters of free enterprise.
The government owned and controlled virtually all financial institutions. And through that control of the financial institutions, subsidized particular industries and particular firms, the targeting system.
the government can come in and say, we want you, because of our new plan, we want you to take care of automobiles and you to take care of shipbuilding and you to take, we want you to get out of this business and let them have it.
South Korea, like Japan and Taiwan, was pursuing a new kind of economic plan, state-guided capitalism. In South Korea, this meant the nation's fortunes became linked to huge corporate conglomerates called chaebol. The government provided finance, subsidies, and tax breaks to the chaebol and protected them from foreign competition. In return, these chaebol had to deliver products that could compete in international markets.
I mean, you cannot grow as a company in East Asia or certainly in Korea unless you are a staunch government supporter. All the same, even if you are a political friend, you have to perform. You have to reach a certain level of productivity, quality. You really have to deliver the goods or you're finished.
The chaebol that delivered the goods diversified into every sector of business, from construction to pharmaceuticals to microchips. The Hyundai Motor Company is one of 28 affiliated companies in the Hyundai Group, one of Korea's top chaebol. Hyundai employs 160,000 workers worldwide and has combined annual sales of over $40 billion. This is the port city of Ulsan, Hyundai's company town. Here, Hyundai has built the largest shipyard in the world. Hyundai is one of 4 huge chaebol which account for nearly 60% of Korea's gross national product. Despite their massive size, most of the chaebol, like Hyundai, are family companies. And the family, in business and government, is the pillar of Korea's Confucian society. Chung Ju-young is Hyundai's founding patriarch. Now retired, he's left 2 brothers and 7 sons in charge of the company. But while Hyundai continues to grow and prosper, it retains strong links to the government.
From appearances, one might think that Korean companies are independent in their business decisions. However, whenever we make big investments, we have to submit proposals for government approval.
These strong ties between government and business are the legacy of the leader who nurtured them, Park Chung-hee. In 1979, Park was assassinated by his own instrument of repression, the chief of the Korean CIA. Now South Korea is less tolerant of an authoritarian style. Still, many Koreans will always remember Park as the man who steered them to the prosperity they enjoy today.
If you asked people on the street now about the memory of Park Chung-hee, they would look at him as being a great leader, a man who understood the necessity of strength. It's kind of a stereotype in Korean political culture of, we respect strength. And we needed our discipline then.